Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Langer at the Mic Live, this live Habs postgame show. The Montreal Canadiens, they finally played a hockey game for the first time in a week, and they lost 5-3 to the Toronto Maple Leafs. And you know what? I really like the way that the Habs played tonight. Contrary to what most people think on Twitter and what most people have told me, I really like the way the Montreal Canadiens played tonight. They played really, really well through 40 minutes at 5-on-5, unlike previous games. They got a lot of quality chances on Freddy Andersen, and give the Leafs goaltender credit. He played really, really well in response. He stood tall and he made a couple of really big saves, including or particularly that big save on Jake Evans in the second period. And that was honestly one of the most important points in the game, that save. And Price also made a couple of beauties as well in the first, like the save on Mikheyev, of course, despite giving up the 5 goals. I don't put this one too much on Carey Price. But yeah, still he did make a couple of really nice saves early on, and just I liked what I saw through 40 minutes. But what killed the Habs tonight, what absolutely hurt them, the only thing or the main reason the Habs lost tonight is because they paraded to the penalty box and they went 1 for 4 on the penalty kill, and that's the main reason why they lost, because they lost 5-3, and if they give up one less power play goal or they kill one more penalty, it's a 1-goal game or tied game in the third period, and a completely different hockey game. I also do feel like that Yoel Armia disallowed goal was a pretty big letdown. I'll get into that in a little bit. And that the Habs went back to their old ways in the third period, trying to do too much and also being a little over aggressive. And it obviously cost them in the form of the Alex Kerfoot goal on the 2-on-1 or 3-on-1, whatever happened, because Jake Edmondson pinched at the blue line there. But like I said, if the Habs take one less penalty or they kill one more penalty and they don't lose that, or they don't have that Yoel Armia goal disallowed, again, this is a completely different hockey game in the third period. We're going to get into our, some good and bad habits here real quick. Look, let's start with Josh Andersen. Again, he was rolling in the first period. And I always feel like Josh Andersen has his best, he plays at his best in the first period early on. Like, he's just such a tone setter, I find. Like, he had 9 hits today, and he just missed a rebound chance that he could have buried if he was probably on his forehand, but he was on his backhand. But if he was a left-hand shot, he would have buried it. It was one that got through by Drouin. Really nice play created and set up by Drouin as usual. I feel like Drouin also played really well again tonight, but this is where it's like, look, and I kept on saying, would you be mad if Jonathan Drouin had 1 goal and 41 points this season, or in an 82-game season if he had like 3 goals but 70 assists? Would you be mad with that? But with that being said, tonight, you would have liked to have seen him bury one of those chances that he had, because he had some really, really good chances, especially that other backhander in the second period. I think it was TJ Brody had a nice stick check on him that took it away from him. But yeah, just this is one where we would have liked to have seen Drouin bury 1 or 2. I also really, really like Jesperi Kotkaniemi's game tonight. I think the week off served him really, really well. Just what a shot on that breakaway, man. Like, he has so much power behind his shot. Like, you could tell it's a heavy shot. It's a heavy, like just a whippy type of shot, But too often his release is just too slow, and it's either blocked or deflected, or the goalie reads it well enough because he takes 3 strides before he lets it go. But on that goal, you saw it that was a goal scorer's type of goal. He picked his corner perfectly, quick release, and you saw flashes of brilliance tonight from Jesperi Kotkaniemi. And even in the third period, a really, really nice shift early on in the third period, but he just needs to make it happen a little more consistently. And by the way, on that goal, it was also a very heads up play by Thomas Tatar, who also played very, very well in his return to the lineup. And he also drew the penalty in the first period on I think it was Zach Bogosian, in the first period. So nice to see Tatar also have a nice bounce back game. And that whole line was pretty good for most of the game as well. Also really nice to see Paul Byron get one back. His speed was on display tonight, and he had a shift early in the first period where he basically skated an entire circle around the Leafs zone. and he missed the net with his shot. So I'm thinking like, oh man, he hasn't scored all year. Here we go again. And just like, yeah, and obviously that shot pretty much ended the pressure for the fourth line at the time. But the goal he scored on the back end, or first of all, where he pounced on a turnover and broke loose from the Leafs D, just his speed to the neutral zone. Like that was a goal that we haven't seen from Paul Byron since 2018. And I really hope he could keep it up in his return to the lineup. But what bothered me tonight, though, was obviously quite a couple of things. Not things that I'm too concerned, too worried about, but still things that absolutely need to change going forward. And first and foremost, Victor Mete tonight was just, I think he has to go back to the press box after the game they had tonight, because he did a lot of good things with his speed and he joined the rush with his speed, but him and Romanov got screwed in their own zone multiple times, and that resulted in 2 penalties that Mete took that led to Leafs goals, particularly Austin Matthews goals. Just Mete, I find he has so much difficulty boxing players out in the crease, and he's a small guy. He's a small defenseman, sure, but I feel like the small defensemen that have played. That have made a long career in the NHL or have had successful careers in the NHL have figured out other ways to box out bigger players than them in the crease, either by positioning or by just stick position, by having their stick in the right place at the right time to clear pucks or to just lift opposing players' sticks. But just Victor Mete hasn't figured that out yet. And his positioning is off the defensive zone. And they just got caught way too many times in their own zone. And while the forwards were good in this game, I feel like the forwards in general just played really well. The defense in general was kind of meh. And a lot of people are calling to break up the Sherratt and Weber pairing. I wouldn't really mind that. Like, I feel like each of them could use a little bit more speed by their side. And also we saw the worst 10-second sequence of the season from Jeff Norris Petrie, who hasn't been quite playing at a Norris Trophy level the last couple games as he was for the first 10 games. Although Jeff Petrie he did leave halfway through the first, but came back in the second. I don't know what that injury was about. But on that second Leafs goal on the power play, he had all the time in the world to flip the puck out of play. But that looked like, honestly, something that would happen in Chell, like in NHL 20 or NHL 21, where it's like you have all the time in the world to wind up or to clear the puck out of your own zone, but you just stupidly aim or just carelessly aim for nothing. And he hit a Leafs player in the neutral zone. So instead of getting the puck deep and killing a good 20 seconds, it went off a Leaf in the neutral zone. They come back, and then even worse, he made that play even worse by pinching and try to bat a pass out of midair, and that led to from a 2-on-2 or a 3-on-3 to like a 3-on-2 or even 3-on-1 down low, where pretty much Price, I think it was Sherratt was in the box. I think it was Edmondson was basically a dead duck on the play, and Thornton easily fed Brody. It was what's his name? Travis Boyd, and Boyd just pretty much had one of the easiest goals that he scored in his life. So the defense needs to be a lot better going forward, and it hasn't been as good as we all thought should have been coming into this season. It hasn't been as good in the last couple games. The forward I didn't really love tonight, though, was number 14 on my back, Nick Suzuki. He's just the last few games, he just hasn't been as noticeable, and you would have liked to have seen more from him coming out of that bye week, essentially, right? Just he hasn't had that same consistency and effectiveness to his game as we saw through the first 10 games. So just all I'm going to say, Suzuki has to be better, has to be more noticeable, has to do more big things. He does a lot of good things well still, or that's been the mantra for Suzuki. He's done a lot of good things well. He needs to do more big things now going forward, and he's still only 21 years old, but at least for the Habs to be good this season, need more out of Nick Suzuki. Kotkaniemi answered the bell tonight. Suzuki needs to answer it as well. And then, of course, the penalties and the penalty kill. The biggest reason, and I would say the only reason the Habs lost tonight, was because of the penalties. The Mete hook, the Sherratt delay of game, and also it looked like the Habs killed off that 5-on-3 in the second, like at the end of the first and going into the second there, because the Leafs couldn't get set up there at the beginning of the second. But Austin Matthews scored with 1 second left on that 5-on-3. And in the remaining time of that power play to Sherratt, the Leafs got the second one, of course, like I said, on the sequence by Jeff Petrie. And like many others, I also just I can't understand that review process on that Yoel Armia disallowed goal. I really can't. In hockey, football, baseball, basketball, and all the big four sports I've seen, never have I ever seen a play getting reviewed, then the ref coming out and saying the call on the ice or the call on the field stands, but then the play getting challenged, reviewed again, and overturned. I have never, ever, ever seen that before in my life, ever. And that was just really, like, so many things with officiating in NHL. That was just complete bush league by the way the referees handled that. And to me, that should have been a goal. Honestly, like, if the player is going for the puck and he gets the goalie's pad and pushes the pad in while trying to push the puck in, like, that should be a goal. It's not like deliberately, like Kotkaniemi didn't deliberately push Andersen's pad in with the puck, the same way Thornton didn't push Matt Murray's pad in with the puck. He was going for the puck, and the force of Kotkaniemi trying to go for the puck and score pushed Freddy Andersen's pad in the net. So to me, that shouldn't be goal interference. That should be a goal, whether it's in this game or whether it's in the Sens-Leafs game with Joe Thornton the other night on Matt Murray. Should have been a goal. But even worse, again, if you're going to overturn it the first time. Just review the play. And if you see something that's not kosher, if you see something worth overturn it right then and there. And again, just really unfortunate, really bush league by the NHL. And that's the last couple of things here. That's what it's just that type of luck that you see with these reverse retro jerseys that the Montreal Canadiens are wearing. I don't know if the league mandates teams to wear the reverse retros for an X amount of games, but the Habs are 0-3 for them, and just things like that Armia goal just aren't going their way for just no good explanation. So just burn the reverse retros already. I don't care how nice they are. Like they're just the Habs. The things just don't go the Canadiens' way in the reverse retros, and they look like the Leafs when they're playing the Leafs on Hockey Night in Canada. Like, if you're gonna wear them against the Sens on a Thursday or against the Oilers on a Tuesday or whatever, sure. But against the Leafs on Hockey Night in Canada, just wear. Maybe don't even wear red, because the next thing, maybe the Habs should wear white at home, because they still can't win at the Bell Center. They just they're under 500 at home again this season, which again doesn't really matter when there are no fans in the stands. But God, man, like the Habs to be 3-5 at home and 6-0-2 on the road, that's a problem. That's a problem that needs to be figured out, and they have to figure it out. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Is that, like, I was listening to TSN Habs Lunch, TSN 690 on Friday last week, and they're saying, is it the what's it called, the matchups? Because, like, is it the faceoffs? Like, that's really the only hockey difference between playing on home versus the road is last change and putting your stick down first in the faceoff circle, or sorry, putting your stick down second in the faceoff circle. So is it something with the hockey, with the last change? Is it something is it just because they're coming from their homes to play at home instead of from a hotel? I don't know. But whatever the problem is, the Habs just need to be better at the Bell Center. That's simple. Because if they're as bad at the Bell Center as they are on the road, or if they're as bad on the road as they are at the Bell Center, they're the second worst team in this division, second only to the Ottawa Senators, because that's how bad the Ottawa Senators are. But still, with all that being said, I still firmly believe the Habs are not that far behind the Toronto Maple Leafs. Also, keep in mind, the Canadiens, they beat the Leafs 4 times in a row coming into the season. And were the Habs during the regular season last year, or the Habs a better team than the Toronto Maple Leafs during the regular season? You can maybe say they were, but the standings said the Leafs were better. But again, the Habs had the Leafs number for the last 4 or 5 games going into this year, and the Leafs, you could say they have the Habs number this year. So whatever. But again, bottom line, I saw things that made me confident that the Canadiens can play, that if the Canadiens play the way they did tonight against the awful Ottawa Senators, they will win the next 2 games. But if they play like they did in the third period tonight, and if they continue parading to the penalty box, well, I don't know. They're not guaranteed to win anything. Never mind against the Senators. They're not going to win many games at all, period. As for the Toronto Maple Leafs, sure, they can run away with the division lead. They'll even probably, they're favored to win the President's Trophy right now at the best striker in the NHL. And Austin Matthews can win the Rocket Richard Trophy and the Hart Trophy, but he ain't going to score 70. And he also finally scored against the Habs after not scoring against the Habs the last 3 games. But again, if Austin Matthews collects all the hardware in the world, and if the Leafs win the President's Trophy, what's that going to mean? Absolutely nothing until they win a playoff series. And the Leafs defense was, again, very generous with the puck tonight. They just, in the neutral zone, in the defensive zone, they turned the puck over, just the way they blew that 5-1 lead against the Ottawa Senators on Tuesday night. The Leafs, they turned the puck over, again, way too much tonight, and the Habs just, they created good chances. But Freddy Andersen, like I said, credit Freddy Andersen for playing a really, really strong game today. And again, the Leafs, they have all the talent in the world, but like I said, as long as they're still capable of blowing 5-1 leads to the Ottawa Senators at home, I don't trust them to win a playoff series until I see it with my own eyes. So, and look, most of all, I will admit the Habs will forever live rent-free in Leaf fans' minds, and the Leafs will forever live rent-free in Habs fans' minds. So I fully admit that. It's a two-way street, but who cares? That's part of the rivalry, and it's good that, again, for hockey, that both these teams are competitive at the same time. Again, just, it would be nice, I guess, if they win, if the Habs won a game here and there, and if the Leafs won a game here and there. But it just seems like the Habs just own the Leafs for a good few years, and then the Leafs own the Habs for a good few years, and then the Habs own the Leafs for a few years. It goes back and forth like that, as opposed to on a game-to-game basis. But anyway, that's all I have here on Langer at the Mic Live. Back to the Canadiens. Let's see how they respond to the Ottawa Senators, because like I said, just when the going gets tough for the Leafs, I don't know. I don't believe in their ability to bounce back if things start to slip away from the Leafs. But again, let's see how the Habs manage to bounce back against the Ottawa Senators tomorrow night after a week off, and after they're going to play 15, 16 games in the next 20 days, or in the next month or whatever it is, until March 26th. So yeah, this is going to be a very important stretch for the Canadiens, and it all starts tomorrow night. And again, thank you so much for watching this episode of Langer at the Mic Live. As usual, if you enjoy my commentary, give me a big thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to my channel here. Give me a follow on both Twitter and Instagram at Mike Langer. I'll include that in the description below. And this has been a Habs-Leafs post-game show here on Langer at the Mic Live. And I look forward to see you again next time. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back tomorrow night. Take care.